Hey man, welcome back to Man Time. Today's episode, you ever look back on stuff from the past and wonder, like, is my memory really as good as I think it was? Was this saw really the end-all be-all to hand saws? We're going to find out today. Welcome to Man Time. So if you're new to the channel, welcome. This is Man Time. All things farm, ranch, homesteading, farmsteading, yellow iron, machinery, equipment, and chainsaws. One of the things here. That last video that I had up there, I was looking at these three chainsaws and kind of going over some of the finer points. But as I was sitting there and looking at it, and I actually watched the video, I was like, man, there's so many good things about this chainsaw. You know, it was my favorite chainsaw. It was my most used chainsaw. I'm a big proponent of using hand saws for not just like climbing in a tree. In fact, I haven't used one climbing in a tree. Well, one time, but we won't talk about that. I'm still in trouble for that one. The new rule at my house is if I'm going to climb a tree with a chainsaw, I need to have somebody on the ground or somebody here. Oh, married life is fun, isn't it? Anyways, thinking back, like, and I had a comment, right? Somebody commented, like, it's not even a fair comparison, comparing this old stuff from the 70s to new and modern stuff, right? It's like racing an old car against a new car. And there's some amount of truth to that. But, and case in point, I had a buddy, or know a buddy, that his specialty used to be hopping up and making race cars out of 5.0 old 80s Mustangs, you know, the 5.0s, Fox bodies, and he would tune those up and do all kinds of neat stuff to them and sell them, like turn them. And he had done one that he was pretty proud of, and he got up next to a neon SRT turbo. And the turbo started walking away from him, and he threw in the towel. And he was like, "This is ridiculous," you know. He didn't race him out like, you know, fully, you know, tub him out and cage him and stuff like that. But he got him running real good. And once that neon walked away from him, he said, "I'm done with this." But I mean, there's other things like nowadays, you know, there is newer technology. I just don't think that technology extends to the chainsaws. And as a matter of fact, the reason I have these two chainsaws is that commenters on the actual Stihl and Husqvarna websites were saying, you know, in the product reviews, they were saying this saw is better than the new ones. And they were saying, and this is a clone saw of the Stihl 200T, they were saying the 200T is the best, you know, chainsaw Stihl has ever made. But nobody had really mentioned this one. There's a couple people, you know, that came to my channel and watched me using this saw, and they say this is the best saw that I've ever used. And so we are gonna find out today. I put in some time, some effort, and some new parts, and this saw should be running. Let's see how we're doing here. So this saw is super easy to start. Choke here, stop here, half throttle here. Beautiful. Just beautiful. Alright, so that was 4 pulls and then 2 after choke, I think. So all these saws are cold. They've been sitting for a few days. We're going to try ease of start for all 3 of these. So this one is kind of a cheater, right? You've got the primer bulb. So we'll purge, or the purge bulb will purge all of the air out of the carb. It's got a half throttle set right here in the trigger. 3. We're off to a pretty good start there. Last but not least, the 200T. All right. I need to get reacquainted with my old friend here. So I had a big branch blow down out of this big oak tree. Let's see how we do now. No choke, half throttle. Yeah, as far as the new versus old with two-stroke engines, I think it's quite a bit different scenario, right? It's the port timing. That's what makes a two-stroke really hot or really not, and the emissions. So with the two-strokes, the last, I don't know, 20 years or so, they've been really hitting hard on these two-stroke emissions. So they choke them down and they choke them down and they choke them down. It's different with like four-strokes and computer controlled now. You can tune it up and tune it down with a programmer, And with the two-stroke, there's none of that. There's no nonsense, right? It's just vapor in, flowing through, and then vapor out. So I think the port timing on this one was left pretty hot, but we're going to find out. I've got some 12-inch pine here, and we're going to put all three head-to-head through the pine. I'm going to dig in the dogs, I'm going to lay into them, and I'm going to see which one is going to come out on top. Let's get after it. I'm going to get these other two warmed up. Man, I don't know. That sounds pretty healthy. My memory might be a little bit fuzzy on this one. Pretty good too. Alright, we'll start off with kind of my least favorite here, the 200T. So, I always just kind of jump into it, right? All these have a 16-inch bar, 3/8 low profile chain, all freshly sharpened by me the same way, so as close as a comparison as we can have here. That's just a whole lot of fun. right, guys, that was our 3 saws in a nutshell there. The wood might have been getting harder toward the end there, but I don't know the times yet. You guys are going to know which one won before I did. Just my thoughts after the cutting here. The 200T seemed to really wake up this time around. It wasn't running so hot the last time. I sharpened the chain, and it seems to have really picked up. Man, it picked up. I may not have had it running really good the last time I did that side-by-side test. Really happy, ecstatic with that one. The fact remains, though, the comfort factor, the confidence that it gives me is still not there. Still super happy with the 338 XPT. It's running awesome. It's probably coming with me into the tree. I'll just have to get a fuel bottle, because like I said, the only downside to this one is the fueling. But man, my memory of this saw being just a killer, it's spot on. And one thing, it's like hard to tune, right? Its tunability is not great. It seems at low idle, it's either too rich, too lean, not enough idle, too much idle. I actually replaced the clutch springs. One of the things I did with this after I got it running, realizing that the clutch springs weren't, the chain was spinning at low RPMs where it wasn't really happy running. That's an indicator that it is tuned, ported in a manner that it, a really hot ported chainsaw is going to be harder to tune. It's going to only like to run like in one spot. Some of the porting that the newer saws, like especially the 400 series Husqvarnas, they're homeowner chainsaws. Any of the homeowner chainsaws, they're designed to run like you can set that thing within a half a turn or 3/4 turn, and it's basically going to run the same. With the hotter chainsaws, you're going to have a very limited range, and you got to be on the screwdriver. You got to know what you're doing. But this saw, in that scenario with 12-inch pine, I was able just to like force this one through the wood, and it would not stall, would not die, wouldn't let up. Both of these other ones, I was kind of having to more gently like feed them through the wood. This one, I could just muscle through the wood. So in this particular case, my memory is not fuzzy. This is the best, most powerful, maybe not the best, depending on what you're looking for, but definitely the most powerful of the 3 saws. And it goes to show you that old stuff can be better than new stuff. So, all right, that's going to do it for today on Man Time, guys. Get out there, have you some man time too.